It's unlikely for someone with a sound mind to deliberately compile information about a fictitious creature and literally devote his time, energy, and money to convince the whole world that it existed, unless he happens to be an influential psychiatric candidate. Since that is not the case, I had to admit that there is more substance to the dinosaur theory than what we think, especially if we consider all the evidence that we received from archaeological excavations. At least one thing is sure, that they are extinct. But how did that happen? How is it that other animals survived and they did not? I don't believe that human beings had anything to do with their extinction, for they were huge and strong, and some of them could fly. Therefore, it would have been suicidal for ancient people with their limited resources to have made any effort to confront them. In that case, we can only assume that they became extinct from a natural cause, like a fatal animal epidemic or self-destruction caused by different species killing each other. I reckon that the ancient world would have been relieved to witness something like that. It was while I was doing research on dinosaurs when I discovered that dragons actually existed in the ancient world. I've always regarded stories about dragons as a myth that was created to entertain children. Personally, I could not imagine a normal animal producing fire from its own body. Sometimes my wife can get so hot during wintry nights that I have to distance myself from her. But that's body heat. Dragons are supposed to have fire within them. Literally, I could not see how they could contain fire without being burnt out, until I read Job chapter 41, which gives us a clear, detailed description of an animal known as Leviathan that existed during Job's lifetime. This animal had distinct features of a dragon. You will agree with me after I have read a few extracts from this chapter. I'll be reading from this Bible, the Living Bible. When he sneezes, the sunlight sparkles like lightning across the vapor droplets. What I understand there is that when he sneezes, the sun reflects on the droplets and they shine like multiple lightnings. His eyes glow like sparks. His eyes were glowing red. Fire leaps from his mouth. That is, he'd spew fire from its mouth. It will spew fire from its mouth. Smoke flows from its nostrils like steam from a boiling pot that is fired by dry rushes. Smoke shot out of its nostrils like steam from a boiling pot. So it just shot up continuously. Yes, his breath could kindle coals. Its breath alone could burn coals. Flames leap from its mouth. Distinct flame that you could see could come out of its mouth. It will just shoot it out. The tremendous strength in his neck strikes terror wherever he goes. His flesh is hard and firm, not soft and fat. His heart is hard as a rock, just like a millstone. When he stands up, the strongest are afraid. Terror grips them. No sword can stop him. No spear, no dart, no pointed shaft. Iron is nothing but a straw to him. Brass is rotten wood. What I understand there, iron and brass, this is really scary. Iron and brass will melt if it spews out fire on them. Slings, arrows cannot make him flee. Sling stones are as ineffective as straw. Clubs do no good, and he laughs at the javelins hurled at him. All the ancient weapons meant nothing because of the fire that came out of its mouth. His belly is covered with scales as sharp as shards. Shards that's like broken glass, which is very sharp. He drags across the ground like a steam roller. I can imagine the sound that it made as it moved along. He makes the water boil with his commotion. This animal was a living furnace in the sea. He chants the depths. He leaves a shining wake of froth behind him. One would think the sea was made of frost. I don't know what you think, but I'm convinced that dragons existed. This is a clear indication of an animal that had all the features of a dragon. Now that I'm convinced that dragons are a fact, I have to admit that dinosaurs did exist. I'll encourage you to read this chapter just to gain a clear or comprehensive idea of this animal. Thank you for your time.